So recently I have been developing a logo design on a recent project, and if you've been following along you will have seen my day-to-day process, and it took about 5 days to come up with my current logo design. Now I'm about to present that to the client. Now sometimes I like to take the logo further and animate the logo just to show the client how it can work in motion. Now I don't always do this, but sometimes if I get time I'll do that. Now on this project I have been lucky enough to collaborate with a really talented and good friend of mine who is a motion designer, and his name is Keane, and he also has a YouTube channel where he is currently teaching After Effects tutorials. So if you're interested you can find out more in the description. But what I was able to do was get Ollie to animate the logo, and this is something I'm going to present to the client. So in this video, I'm just going to quickly talk about the process of how we went about animating the logo and show you the results. So I reached out to Ollie and he was willing to animate the logo. I quickly briefed him, brought him up to speed with the logo, talked about the ideas, the concepts, why it is the way it is. I briefed him and then he came up with some motion solutions, and then we jumped on a call and we discussed them. So let's take a look at the motion logo reviews. I'll quickly share my screen, shall I? So we can, we can go through this. Here we go. They're really, really good, by the way, really like them. Yeah, there's literally not much I would change on them really, because the motion's great on them, but there's just one or two things I'd like to be a bit more exaggerated. So let's just go through them. No worries. So I'll play this one. So this is the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the kind of like online training one I was thinking.
Yeah, I love what you did there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, because each one I kind of want to have like emotion behind each one, so like when you actually like look at it, it actually gives you this like little bit of emotion.
Yeah, it's all three of them next to each other. That's probably better.
Yeah, the little sprite sheet.
Yeah, it's great. I really like what you did as well, like adding that little screen to it. I wouldn't have thought of doing that. It was a really cool touch.
Yeah, it's funny because I looked at the logo and I was looking at the stem of the T, the middle part, and I was like, I could really stretch that and make a screen, because it has a lot of potential, because there is a lot of, it's two rectangles in the middle for the T, and I was like, I could do a lot with that, in terms of like, I could make like the top of the T a button and then make the bottom part the screen, so you could stretch it out almost like a bit of like a UI type animation, and then turn the little side of the S, the bottom part of the S into a little mouse, so it's like clicking away. Just because I was reading about this client and just like, trying to understand what they were about, like training and so on. And like, especially now with COVID, everyone's working from home. So I'm like, who's going to be, it's more like online learning than, being in person.
Yeah. And they do online stuff as well. So I just think it's really good, but it doesn't necessarily mean online either, does it? Because, it's just computer stuff, like, on screen and things. So I guess really what it is I don't need you to change anything. If anything, I want you to make a different one, because I don't want to change these, because I think they're great and I want to use them. But there's just one idea I had in mind for a different animation.
Cool.
And that's it. But yeah, so the first one, great. I wouldn't really change that. The second one, that's cool too. But I do think that it might lean a little bit too much to the architectural side.
Yeah. Like for me, it was more so like I brought in, the little measuring tape, and it was about like measuring your goals and like measuring, your measuring, anything that you're about to do. And it probably is too much like craftsman, or like, too much like a tradesman, like builder type one. But I wanted to give it a go just to see, like, because especially with the first, this is what I normally do when I'm making like animations for motion design and so on, is like, I give a taste of, my first crack at my first animations, and then after that we can rein it in or pick pieces from one, or if one emotion is working well, and one we can add it to others and so on.
It's great. And then this one's great as well. I really like this is what I had in mind for the strokes. The way you've drawn the strokes, that is kind of how I'd like the treatment of the strokes to be.
Oh, cool.
It's just really nice because it's all about building, coming out from nowhere and just like constructing it. So, just sort of feel like constructing it. So it comes out of nothing and builds up to the complete thing. All I would say is that it's just a bit fast. Like this is fine. Like I say, the next logo I want to see is exactly the same as 1 and 3 really, but just slow it down a little bit. So I wouldn't change it. This is fine. The only thing is though, is that the way the T drops, I just felt like that was maybe just a bit too playful.
Too comical, is it? Yeah, because I was trying to think that like with this one, I wanted to give you this one as like this was like my last thing I animated, and I wanted to kind of push it in terms of like send you like one letter popping in and then one, because I remember when we first spoke really quickly, it was like you were on about like animating on the strokes, and I was like, yeah, I definitely could animate in the strokes, but I wanted to see how playful you wanted it as well, because you know, this kind of gives me a nice gauge now of, you know, how playful you want the animation, and now we can, you know, rein it in or make it more or so on, you know.
Yeah, but I like the idea though. I like what you're doing with the T, like the R and the S that animates in with the strokes, but the T sort of has a different treatment. So why don't you you can do that, but instead of them falling in and sort of bouncing, what if you did like a bit more of a slick transition of the T? So maybe the top block just fades in a little bit and just moves in. I like the idea. Like they don't all have to be drawing on as strokes. They can come on as blocks as well, because this makes it a bit more dynamic. So so what I'm thinking is I think 1 and 3 are really cool.
So one and 3 are the, I'm just writing this down. I do my little notepads while I'm doing this. This is proper thing. So 1 and 3. So with 1, what did you want to do with 1? You want me to like slow down?
I tell you what. Don't worry about number 1. Keep number 1 as it is, because I think it's great for the idea. I think the client's going to really like that when they see it, because you know, it's going to they're just going to like the screen and how it communicates digital. And I like number 3 because it's the stroke and it animates on. What I kind of want to see is like a slower version of the RTS coming on. And what you've done in number 1, if you look at the way the shapes, they sort of, they come in, but it's all happening quite quick. I want you to see him coming in. So maybe it's about 3 times slower. Like it gets revealed too soon, because we can always speed it up and speed it down. But I pretty much the same as this one. Pretty much the same as this one, but animate the strokes on like you did in number 3, and bring the blocks on, like animate them on in different ways. Just like experiment with different ways that those blocks will emerge.
Because I was thinking of maybe if we had like, say if one of the blocks, you know, like the darker or lighter purple, one of them is like it's almost already there kind of in a way, it just fades on, and then that kind of shrinks up to the T, and then the other part fades on, you know, so you get a bit of like symmetry kind of thing going on, you know, kind of 2 blocks together.
I tell you what I'm going to do quick as well. I'm going to jump into my in situ visuals, because I've done a bit of work and I'm kind of there now with how I want this to go, and the colors changed a little bit as well. So I'll send you we'll have to change the colors. So I'll quickly take you through this. Okay, so this is the master colorway. So the coral and the purple. So do you want me to change the color in my comps? So now the first animation I sent you, so say R1 version 1, should I make that one just change the colors? Yeah. So I think from going forward, change that purple to the coral. I think I included it in the Illustrator doc I sent over. So don't really have to change anything. The first one's great. The last one's great. Just make a new one. Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll present them all to the client, because the cool thing is what I'm starting to think of as well is, you know, there could be various logo transitions for various things. Oh, like, for sure. You know, they could use the first logo on a presentation or like a part of their website or something. But what I want. Sorry. What I love about this brand though, just it really like lends itself well to motion. You know, it's really, you know, like the minute you look at it, you can see it almost animating. You know, it's such a cool like thing to animate, because even when I seen the logo straight away, I was like, this is perfect, because sometimes you get logos sometimes you get logos that you want to or you get logos from a client and you're like, oh no, this is gonna be, you know, like it doesn't feel like it needs to be animated, but this is like really, really cool, because there's a lot to do with it, you know. Even those like animations I sent over, like I did those in like 2.5-3 hours, you know. So it's like there was so much
ideas they're popping out, straight away from nothing. So definitely, yeah. It's funny because R2, the middle one, the second version, I was like, yeah, this might be too much, and then like 1 and 3, I was like, yeah, I give something different, but then we can figure out, and because I knew there would be another version for sure after this. I was like, because now we can marry in like different parts and like get it working.
The idea, the thing is with the second one is that it feels too architectural, but when I think about it, the idea is that it feels architectural because there's different sectors. There's business, there's childcare. You could easily create an RTS logo that looks playful, that is for childcare, and you could have one that is for business, which feels a bit more business. So maybe later on down the line, we could do a logo for each sector that embraces the character. So because the audience are young professionals going in, 16 to 24-year-olds embarking on their new qualifications. So, it would be really cool to appeal to those particular people that are interested in those particular things. So what you've done there might not be right now, but something like that would be definitely right in future.
So when I'm finished that, you want me to put it into a sprite sheet like this again? So have like 1, 2, and then just have the third one or the fourth one like next to each other, so you can just see them all. Because I think it really helps seeing all in one.
Yeah. If you like, you can put all these in one sheet if you like, because I'll present it all to the client because they'll just love the fact that this work has been done. And I will be talking through my process as well. So I'll be showing them the development, some of the development. And I think this is some of the development that I could show them. Yeah, one more thing to note as well, which I've just noticed. The way that you've treated the Riverside Trading Spalding. I think the one that works the best is actually the one you did in R2. Because it feels like it builds on, right? Like I really like that treatment because it builds on. I think when you do your new logo, implement that treatment.
So R2 we're in the text treatment. Cool.
Yeah, because again, I like it because it's building, it's stacking up, and that sort of just goes with the grain of the idea of building.
Yeah, maybe it might hint on like growing, it's like
that's really good. That's really good. I like the other treatments as well sliding on. They're really smooth. That's exactly what I had in mind for that treatment of type, because that type is more simple. It's not supposed to compete too much. So I really like the way you've treated it. It's really slick.
I didn't want to animate it on things like character by character. I wanted to do line by line, because sometimes
you nailed that. That's exactly how I had it in mind. So
thanks,
keep that. But yeah, definitely number 2, the way it builds on. I think that's perfect.
Cool. So, this is the thing, like giving options, because at least we can look at it and like take a bit from one and then add it to another one, and like see we're already after making a new version before even making it, because you can see the little elements, because I think that sometimes that's what, if you're animating a logo, say if you sent me a logo and I did one version, and I sent it back, like I'm not really showing you all my ideas in a way, so I think this is definitely a good way of showing like just different logo treatments and so on with the animation.
So that was the logo designs that Ollie originally made in the first step. Really good there, but there was just a few little things that I wanted to see. So after that, Ollie went away and he created some more logo designs. So let's take a look at his response. So Ollie came back with another spread of logos. Here he did another 3, where we were looking at the stroke effects and how the stroke effects would animate in. Now I really think that these are on point. I like the simplicity, but I like how they build in. I mean, the whole concept of the logo was building, so I liked how they animated in as they do. Now, so these are really good. Let's take a look at them in large format. So here the logo animates in, really simple, really elegant. Just love the way the strokes animated in there, and also the way the type pops up, just the way it bounces up like that. Nice, very subtle, but it's a sense of building. And now I like this one too. I like the shapes appearing, but the only problem with this is I wanted a version with the complete strokes. So I spoke to Ollie and he created another version, again with the strokes animated in and the blocks, and it lands on the blocks. So this one is the one that I think probably works the best, because it's the one which lands on the blocks. So really like this one. I think it ticks all the boxes, and I think this one really works the best. So those were the logo designs that Ollie made for me. Really good. The takeaway here was the motion had to justify the core concept. Now, it might be simple, but at least the motion was inspired by all the unique qualities that made the logo what it is. So I was really happy with the logo and the motion of this. I can't wait to show it to the client. In my next video, I'm going to be presenting the logo design to the client, and I'm going to be including these motion logos inside it. So stick around for that and you can see the reaction. Let's see what the client thinks. Are they going to like it? I hope they do. So stick around to see how I present the logo to the client and show the motion and see if they like it. So I'll see you in the next video.